what the plants have the capacity to do, as well as helping us with many different conditions, is to help to reintroduce us to that broadened and deepened kind of awareness. That awareness began to change my experience of being in the world in a way that created a much fuller and richer and more satisfying way of life. And afterwards, I began to feel like no matter where I was surrounded by beings, in this case plant spirits, who knew me very well, were interested in my welfare, and I could say we're friends. And that's one of the mysterious but very important benefits of plant spirit medicine. For those who receive it as treatment, for those who learn about it and practice it as healers. And that is something not at all new. Even though I had been able to contact that wisdom in the plants, how was I going to deliver that to others? And the first thing I settled on as a way of doing that was making homeopathic preparations of certain plants, particularly local plants where I lived, and the vast majority of those were not in the homeopathic pharmacopoeia. So I had found one homeopathic laboratory that was willing to potentize what's called those plants for me, which I then used to good effect in my healing practice. But at one point that was interrupted because the Food and Drug Administration didn't really approve of that way of doing things. And I was a bit at a loss for what to do about it. So one of the things that occurred to me was that if there were a plant that was willing to serve as kind of a messenger that would summon the spirit of other plants as directed and deliver them to the patient, I thought that might solve the problem, particularly if that plant did happen to be in the homeopathic pharmacopoeia. I looked at my notes, and I found some notes I had with a plant interaction 2 or 3 years previously, in which I met a plant which offered its services as a messenger. And I thought, what does that mean? I don't see any need for a messenger, so I disregarded that and promptly forgot about it. But in reading through 3 years later, there it was again. So I re-engaged the plant, and I asked if it were willing to serve that function. And it said, I'm translating this into English verbiage now, said, of course, didn't I tell you that 3 years ago? So I said, oh, thank you very much. And now the next hurdle was, since I was still at that point, which I no longer do, use homeopathic preparations, but at that point I was, that, well, that would be fine as long as it's in the approved U.S. homeopathic pharmacopoeia, and therefore legal and obtainable and so forth. So I got a copy of the pharmacopoeia and I looked through it, and sure enough, there it was. Very obscure remedy, hardly anybody used it, but it was there, so it could be obtained and used legally. And I found it delivered a very good medicine, very pure, very effective, and I started using that for quite some time. I'd never heard of any plants being used in this way before, but subsequently I found that at least in several, I don't know how many, but at least in several indigenous practices of plant spirit medicine, they do use what I call messenger plants. And that in that way, one plant, or what I call one plant spirit, can be used to treat a fantastic variety of different ailments and conditions. And what is often hidden behind that is that that plant is actually summoning other plants who are more specialized and useful in that particular case. To me, it's a demonstration of this undeniable, but nevertheless mysterious awareness that the plants have. Aware of who we are, aware of what our needs are, aware of our past and our future in this case. And also that the plant, what I call the plant spirits, are well disposed towards us. They're interested, it seems, in helping us out. They're interested, I believe, in helping us heal. And in their view, one of the basics of healing is to come into that deepened, expansive awareness that creates the condition for the improvement and often the disappearance of our symptoms, our concerns, and so forth, which I've come to know and learn now is a way of being in the world, a way of awareness of the world around us, which includes other human people, other plants, animals, rocks, streams, clouds, sun, earth, and everything, allows us to experience those things as we're part of them. They're part of us. We're related. They're interested in us, and they're interested in helping us live in a way that we can be in good relationship to them, and that way everybody benefits from that good relationship.